G. Bush, what's up, man?
Yeah. Hey, look, we got Jason too. We got Jason. I think he's having a little technical difficulties. He'll be on us too. So what's your name, man? You know, it's another Browns. I almost said something else.
Yeah.
A Browns L on a Monday.
A Browns S show.
Yeah. So, the weekend was hard. The weekend was hard. But how was your holiday? We'll start with that, though.
I had a really nice weekend, nice holiday. My son enjoyed his Hanukkah gifts and being with his family. And we did the traditional Jewish Christmas Day. We went for Chinese food. It was packed, by the way. We went to a place called Dragon Tower, which is like Cam's Corner. You know that area?
Yep.
And I said to my wife and my in-laws, I'm like, there's going to be nobody there. We're on the west side. There's no Jewish people on the west side. Everybody else is celebrating Christmas. They're not going to be at a Chinese restaurant. Yeah, I was wrong. The place was packed.
So you telling me you inadvertently started a Jewish community movement by going to have Chinese?
Yeah,
so
but
everybody their mom is there now.
Yeah, but I'm assuming that the rest of the people there were not. I mean, they were not Jewish, just because there's not a lot of Jewish families on the west side that I know of. But and there were definitely people celebrating Christmas there, because there was this big table of like 20 people there, and I was talking with one of the guys at the table, and his mom, who was there, was 99 years old. So shout out, I don't know the name, but shout out to that family. There were like 4 generations of people there. The mom, like, she didn't even look 99. She was walking with like a walker, but she seemed like, I would have guessed she was in her 80s.
Yeah,
like impressive.
For you to be 99, salute to you. For staying another
that's
Christmas.
impressive.
That's very impressive.
So we had a great time. How about you, G? How about you?
No, everything was good. I went to my mom's house in Canton. We braved the weather. It is my niece's 2nd birthday. She's born on Christmas Eve.
Oh, nice. Happy birthday.
Yeah, so
does she get screwed out of presents being a Christmas baby?
No.
You overdo it.
She's the only grandchild in the family, so
she gets spoiled. Yeah,
she gets she wanted to open the presents the day before. She just kept touching the boxes, and then the next day, weirdly enough, she got so many presents that she was just like, "Yeah, I'm not up for opening these presents. You open them, and then you show me what's in the box. I'm not."
What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's
demanding for a 2-year-old.
Yeah. Oh, what do you mean? Like she's addicted. She's addicted to her phone. Like all she does is watch YouTube. Like, and then she gets mad.
She's just like her uncle. Yeah. All he watches YouTube.
But at least I don't flip out when the commercials come on.
Oh yeah.
Like she knows how to pick the button that says skip ad. And if it's unskippable ad, she flips out. Like she's just like, how dare you make me watch this? This is unacceptable.
What is her name?
Her name is Zara.
Zara?
Yeah, my mom calls her Zara, Prince of Power, and that was all we needed. I said, bro, you should have never named that girl that. This is the reason she is the way she is right now. But shout out, she's the cutest little girl in the world. So, yeah.
Did you guys eat some good food?
I think this is Jason.
Jason, we're talking about how we celebrated the holidays.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me, Colin? I guess we can hear you. Let's see how it goes. No.
Is it bad?
Yeah. It's like see. Do you have headphones?
He's got AirPods in or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Try something else.
We'll try it.
Jason back out. So what did you guys eat? Did you eat some ham?
So no ham this time.
No ham? Oh.
My mom had a medley of things. So she had this wild rice. Because there's this thing. So since we have 2 Filipinos in our family, so my brother's married to a Filipino, obviously my wife is Filipino. Like, it is scientific facts. Like they pointed out, they must have rice. If there is no rice at the meal, they don't care about anything else. So there was wild rice.
Yeah.
And then there was broccoli and cheese. I was like, you guys are trying to eat healthy. There was also
unacceptable to eat healthy.
Unacceptable. I'm like, what are we doing here? Yeah. They did have fried chicken. There was there's some meatballs too. Meatballs are always get it done, right?
All right.
And so we just had the meatballs, right? We ate those, and what else? We had some baked beans, and then there was what else am I missing? Potato salad, and of course Christmas cookies. Yeah. Now the thing for us, Christmas cookies are the most important.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blossoms. There was some Rice Krispie treats. So my mom made those. So everything was pretty good. It wasn't really a smorgasbord of like your traditional ham, like Thanksgiving part two, but it worked.
All right. Well, we hope that everybody else enjoyed their holiday as much as we did. From a sports perspective, as you started to allude to before, G, it was a pretty miserable weekend. The Browns lost, got eliminated from the playoffs. The Steelers rally late to win. Baker Mayfield plays a great game. The Cavs lost. The Cavs played one of their worst games all year on Friday. The Raptors just have their number. We talk about matchups. The Raptors just have the Cavs number. They have just taken care of business against them, even at home. So not a great weekend, but we try to dig out of the mess that was the weather and that was the weekend in terms of sports. And, and by the way, had the Browns won, they would still be alive for the playoffs because the Dolphins lost. So that path would have still been open. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter. The season is over. Do you feel like, before we dive into Saturday's game, do you feel like there's anything, like, is there anything, if you didn't do this for a living, if you were just a regular Joe and you didn't do this for a living, do you have any reason to watch the last two Browns games? Or if you were just a fan and you didn't do this for a living, are you so exasperated and disappointed and angry or whatever that you wouldn't watch the games?
For once, I would almost say, and this was a scary thing to me, and I'm the Duke of knee jerk, right? If you catch me in a moment, I might tell you anything. But here's the problem: like, for one time, and I looked at it, and I've watched all the games at the end of the season, right? I've watched the terrible games where the Pittsburgh Steelers come into Cleveland, take over the stands with the terrible towels and blow us out.
Yep.
I've been there where we at the end of the year with Johnny Manziel and Straczynski and all those guys. During the game, I'm sitting there thinking, like, man, I don't know if I was like, I catch y'all in 2023, man. I can't. I'll watch the game, but I'm not gonna be watching it with the evil eye like I usually do. Like, I watch every single game, all 22 after the game. I don't think I'm gonna be watching all 22s this week or next week. Like, I'll just watch the regular game. And usually I would feel unsettled if I didn't watch the all 22, and I'll feel like I wasn't really informed of what's going on. But now, if I was a regular fan, no, I wouldn't do it. Like, I would just be, there's a lot of people, as I talk to people, are just fed up. They're just tired. And the circumstances are a little different from this organization and regime, but there's a lot of people that's just exasperated and just like, man, this season has been one of the worst seasons that I've seen, man. Just the overall feeling of it, Bull, it doesn't leave me feeling good.
It's interesting because how could you feel good? And even if they do win the last two games, and who knows what they'll do. I mean, Washington and Pittsburgh are in the same class of teams as the Browns. Washington lost this week. Pittsburgh scored late to beat the Vegas Raiders. But even I guess you want to watch to see if Deshaun Watson can show some improvement off what he's done the first four games and see if he could play better these next two. But there really is, you're right. There's this, and by the way, everybody that's depressed and sad and angry and mad, as we all are, they'll all be back this offseason with the transactions and the draft. They'll all be back in OTAs. They'll all be back for training camp. We all will, right? Because we'll all, get ourselves excited again. However, it's funny because I have been one of the biggest Kevin Stefanski supporters this year. After a decade of, I feel like I was one of the first people in Cleveland to say, let's fire Chud, let's fire Shermer, let's fire Hugh, I feel like I was one of the first people in town. And with Stefanski, it's been the total opposite. I feel like a lot of people want him fired, and I've been defending him. To a point, even apologizing for him. And part of it, I was really thinking about this over the last 48 hours since we did the post-game show on Saturday, or 40-something hours. And I was like, I think part of the reason I've defended Stefanski is because after the games, we're all so reactionary and emotional, obviously for a reason, that it seems like for the last 2 months, all we do is talk about the coach when the game's over. And I felt like, well, the players are getting a pass here. But now that I've had a chance to let it settle in for 48 hours, The players still don't get a pass. And I did my podcast today, G, and I said nobody gets a pass for this season. This season, you're right, is an unmitigated disaster. Now, part of the reason I was defending Stefanski and is because I thought to myself, well, when the season started and we knew Deshaun Watson was suspended for 11 games, I believe you and I agreed that the Browns would go 8-9 when we saw Stefanski. However, and they still could end 8-9. We'll see. However, if you would have told me and you before the season, after Watson got suspended, that Jacoby Brissett was going to play as well as he did for those 11 games, you and I would have both picked the Browns at the very least to probably win 10 games. And even if they don't make the playoffs, they lost because of a tiebreaker at 10-7, right? Yeah. We would have had probably 2 more wins for them. Because the reason we both picked them to win 8, I don't mean to speak for you, I'm just assuming it's the case, is because we're like, well, their great quarterback is not playing 11 games. How good can Jacoby Brissett do, right? But he did better than we could have expected. And because they lost because of the defense, I've mostly given Stefanski a pass for that. But ultimately, as I look at the scope of the season, and I look at the scope of last season, it's been 2 disappointing years in a row. Yes, I can point to reasons beyond Stefanski's control that factored into the Browns not doing well. But ultimately, on the field, he is the head man. He is ultimately responsible. Offense, defense, special teams. We all agree Woods has got to be gone. We all agree Prefer's got to be gone. Ultimately, I'm torn. And I think I would still stick with Kevin Stefanski for next year. However, I thought Ben Axelrod made a good point on Twitter where he said, and he's been a Stefanski supporter too.
He's staunch as they come.
Yeah, and he said, the problem with I want to keep Stefanski. The problem is he's on the super hot seat if he's the head coach next year. And if they get to a bad start, then you're starting over again midseason. That's not good. But ultimately, unless I'm sure there's a better option, what makes me nervous is I understand the argument for firing Stefanski. I still think he can be a good coach, but listen, his team has been a disappointment 2 years in a row. That's a fact. All the things you want to bring into it, he's the head coach. And if I could find a definite better choice, if you told me I could get Sean Payton, I would be open-minded to that. I don't think you can get Sean Payton because you'd have to get trade draft picks to get him. And the Browns don't have draft picks. If somebody's going to trade draft picks, it's going to be the Broncos can't do it either because they got no first round picks either. But somebody will make an offer. The Chargers maybe, whatever. They have first round picks. So I don't think so. If I'm just going to go get another unproven coach, now maybe that guy's the next good coach. Who knows? Then I would still lean towards staying with Stefanski. But the last 2 days has really pushed me more to the middle and starting to doubt myself about whether Stefanski's the right guy. I feel like I'm hoping more than he's right, that I'm right, that he's right, then I totally believe it. Because I don't totally believe it, and that's changed. But I'm not sure he's the wrong guy either, and it's a long way around there. Sorry to ramble on, but the Browns are in a tough spot right now. I think that's the bottom line.
Very. And what I've been looking for, Bull, is I just been looking for, I've always bring this up. I've gone through a divorce before, and I've gone to, there's some steps you go through before you go get counseling, right? You talk to maybe you have a religious advisor that counsels both of you spiritually. You go to that individual for a little bit. And then you get a situation where you said, okay, well, let's go to an actual counselor to talk to somebody and figure it out. And when you go to those counseling sessions, the first thing they say is, both of you have to do good favor, do some work in good favor, and show the other person that you are willing to change some of the things that is causing you strife in your relationships. Whether that is your spending habits, whether that is your not being emotionally checked in, whether that's they want you to work on certain things like, hey, let's do date night, or hey, let's spend some time with my family or your family. Those things are things that you can do to kind of show the other person, hey, I know this not going well right now, but I'm willing to invest in the relationship to show you some stuff in good favor that I'm willing to make certain changes. And when I look at Kevin Stefanski and I compare that analogy to the Cleveland Browns, every single week as fans, we tune in and we just want Kevin Stefanski. We understand that everything hasn't been perfect. It's been a difficult season for him to kind of manage and wrap his head around trying to prepare 2 quarterbacks. but we're just looking for small things, right? We just want the little stuff. We say, look, just give me some adjustments in some places, or give me a little creativity, or give me, here's what we don't want to see. Don't let the guys that used to haunt us from the past continue to haunt us. Like Joe Flacco, he dominated us for years. He comes back in here and gets a win on a team that in a game you should have had sewed up. You got Andy Dalton. He comes in here and he's been successful against the Browns. He comes back in here and gets a win, right? And then the thing that really hit me today was, boy, as I've been analyzing it for the last 48 too, is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I look up at them, and I remember you talked to Aditi about it. The Steelers are going to be trash this year. I don't believe in any of the quarterbacks, Trubisky or Pickett. The Browns got a better offense. The Browns got better defensive players. And I look up for the first time all season, and I see the Pittsburgh Steelers, and what was supposed to be a down year for them, they are now 7-8, and you are below them looking up. That's not good, man.
Yeah.
That don't give any fan, that doesn't give us anything to say you're working towards something, because the Browns roster is unequivocally better than the Steelers roster.
Yeah, I mean, I look at and maybe we're wrong about this. Maybe we're both overrating the Browns roster, because I agree with you. I mean, I look at going into the season, even thinking about it now, I say, what unit are the Steelers better than the Browns? Well, the Steelers are better on the defensive line. There's no doubt. But going into the season, I thought the Browns were just as good at linebacker. Obviously, the Steelers aren't great at linebacker either, so that's probably a wash. I thought the Browns had a huge edge in the secondary, a huge edge at quarterback, especially with Watson, a huge edge at running back. Wide receivers are they're close. It's kind of a wash.
They even got rid of Claypool, though.
Right, and they got rid of Claypool. Offensive line should have been a huge advantage for the Browns. Tight end, probably a wash. Freiermuth's okay. If anything, Njoku's better than Freiermuth.
Right.
So that has improved. And yet, you're right. And they're basically, right, they played essentially the same schedule. They only play like 3 different teams in the schedule. And yet, here they are behind the Steelers. And it's just a massive disappointment. And Mike Tomlin is a proven coach, and it's a more stable organization. But yes, Stefanski's got to take a good share of blame. Is it enough to get him fired? I guess we'll find out this offseason. I got to say, though, when I saw, did you see this report by Jonathan Jones from CBS, where he said, well, they're going to change the offense next year. Jimmy Haslam was watching Tennessee and their air raid offense, and that's what he wants. Did you see that report from Jonathan Jones?
I did not, but that sounds crazy.
First of all, that's the problem. And okay, we all agree Kevin Stefanski can't get a pass for this year. I think that there's nobody arguing that Kevin Stefanski did a great job this year. The only debate is, should he get one more year to show who he is? He did an excellent job in his first year, and I'd say a below average job the 2 years since. Some people might say worse than that. Do we give him the 4th year to see was the first year the legit or not? That's the argument. But beyond Stefanski, there's other problems with this franchise, right? And it starts with the owner, too. The owner, maybe that report's wrong. Maybe it's wrong. Right. But, just the fact, would you ever hear, I don't know where Art Rooney went to, or whoever's in charge of the Rooneys now. Didn't Art Rooney die? I can't keep track of the Rooneys.
I think his son is in
his son, right.
Now.
I don't know where his son went to school, but let's say his son went to Ohio State, okay? Would you ever hear Art Rooney Jr. say, would there ever be a report about Art Rooney Jr. saying he watched the Buckeyes do this, and now the Steelers are going to do this? Because that's clown stuff. That's what Jerry Jones does. That's what Daniel Snyder does. That's clown behavior by the owner. Now, again, maybe the report's wrong, but Jimmy Haslam's track record of clown behavior means that the Browns have to try to win in spite of him, which is hard because the owner should have nothing to do, whether you like Kevin Stefanski or not. Whether you want Sean Payton or Kevin Stefanski or whoever the hell you want to be the coach, the owner, obviously the owner can do whatever he wants, but the owner on a good organization stays the hell out of anything having to do with the game plan for the offense.
Yeah, the game. Listen, you can't have the owner talk about no game plans. Like if you talk about we should run it here or throw no. Now, if you want to say I like this player, I mean, I think every owner, if you ask him, they'll say they have an affinity to one player or another, right? You know,
Sure.
hey, I think we like. That's just regular human nature. But when it comes down to the X's and O's and what you should be running and how you should be, you know what that tells me? That tells me, and Coach Stefanski said something earlier. I think, no, this was a quote Deshaun Watson had. He said, every time I see Coach Stefanski, he's in the quarterback room. And I'm like, man, every time I see you up in here, he said, if I wasn't in here, I would be bored. And I'm like, well, no. See, that's not. Some of this stuff could be headed off. Some of this stuff can be headed off if you have a more of a macro approach to the way you approach your organization. Sometimes when you got a hands-on owner, sometimes you need to be able to come hand him like a report, some different things of what you're thinking about and what you're doing. And so he can be in a situation where he don't have to start thinking about how can I save stuff. No. You don't have to save nothing. Right. I'm going to come up here and give you a report where we are after 4 games, after 8 games, after 16. Here's some small things we worry about in the organization, whether it's the day-to-day and players here and players there. And here's some bigger things that I'm thinking of, some things that's 2 to 3 years down the line. So then what you can do is you can engage your ownership group, and they'll say, oh, well, I feel like I'm informed. I feel like I talked to Kevin, and we are thinking about some things down the line. And that way, you keep him at bay. But when you stuck in the quarterback room trying to figure out plays to call on Sunday, ain't no way in heck you're going to be able to talk to the defensive coordinator. You're not going to be trying to talk to the GM. You're not talking to those dudes consistently. If you did have an offensive coordinator, you probably could have a way around and move around and touch different parts of the organization, but not now just sitting here in the play calling, because that's where you're most comfortable at. Sometimes you got to step out of your comfort zone in order to grow and to grow your skill set. And I think that's something we waiting on Kevin Stefanski to do.
But at least the Browns hired Jake Paul, who 2 days later was fighting with sex toys. That's a great job by the Browns there.
And listen, we're cutting edge over here.
Yeah.
But you're
super chat.
Super chat. Hit that like button, y'all. I appreciate you, man.
Brent.
I appreciate you. But by the way, throw that in real quick. At some point in time, have you ever questioned yourself, Bull? Why is it some people get reprimanded for certain things and some people don't? Like, how, you can't he's fighting with a large sex toy. I'm not gonna say the other word because we get demonetized. Yeah. If I can't even say the word, you shouldn't be playing with it then, right?
Not publicly, at least.
Not publicly.
Do what you want in your bedroom.
With a straight face, though, too.
Oh, my God.
And it was a big sex toy, too. It wasn't like no... These guys is crazy.
I mean, what were the Browns think? J.W. Johnson, that guy is a buffoon. I mean, I don't know what he's doing.
Hey, if that's what you want to do, hey, bring us out there to smash guitars. I'll smash a guitar, too, if you just letting anybody on the squad. Good gracious, man.
Maybe somebody should smash a guitar on J.W. Johnson's head. Might sharpen him up.
Man.
Not literally. Nobody hit him. Not advocating.
Listen, I never said to touch anybody.
Yeah.
But we look at the Browns, and I'll ask you this question.
Yeah.
I do think that there is some opportunity for you to splice this thing down the middle and try to, who is the biggest problem in this thing? Because I'm going to be honest. I said it in the middle of the season. We overestimated a lot of these guys, man. We a lot of these guys that we talked about that was all pros.
Yeah.
That was going to be the next wave. And I look no further. Tyvis, if you listening, hey, I would agree that the number one area that we overestimated was the secondary.
100%. And now the question is it talent? Is it coaching? Is it players? Like, that's the continued blame. We've talked about Stefanski. We've talked about Jimmy Haslam. Well, what about the front office? Has Andrew Berry gotten it wrong? Like, I don't know. As rookies, we thought Greg Newsome and JOK were hits. We thought they were hits. As second-year guys, they both look like misses. I don't know what the truth is. I think next year is a huge year for Greg Newsome and JOK. They've both got one good year and one, especially Greg Newsome, because Greg Newsome was really good as a rookie, and he was really bad as a second-year guy. JOK was okay as a rookie and bad as a second-year guy. I don't know. I don't know who the real players are in those cases, and that's the thing where, like, Martin Emerson has been phenomenal as a rookie, but I'm worried that are we going to see the same thing in his second year? Is he going to regress like we saw with Newsome and JOK? That has me concerned. You?
Yeah, wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
You know, because I look at it, and we've heard, and this is the problem, we've heard way too many, and just don't take my word for him. I'm just a little old Ohio University D1 dude that, you know, does internet stuff. I mean, we've heard way too many professionals come on, and when you hear about the way that DeQuell Jackson talks about the linebacker room, he talks about it as if they don't even have the regular requisite fundamentals to play NFL linebacker.
That's true.
That is scary because you know I don't know if they got the right people in there teaching these guys, especially young guys. And one thing too is if you get some young guys out here and you just turn them loose and say go learn, you may end up with a couple of guys that want to do something. You may end up with a few guys that pop here or there, but the consistent fundamentals where you're still learning your technique 3, 4, 5 years in the league, I don't see that sustained growth right now from those positions.
How about this, G? You know, we've talked. Yes, I think we're in agreement. The secondary is a big disappointment. I think Denzel Ward has played better down the stretch. Hopefully, you know, and I believe in Denzel Ward. I don't know why he wasn't very good the first half of the year. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe it was some personal stuff going on. There had been some rumblings about some personal stuff for him. I'm not going to mention anything because I don't know what's true, what's not. But maybe he's over that. I don't know. The guy's too talented a player to have played as poorly as he did in the first half, and he's played better. But think about this. We've talked so much about the front seven on defense. The Browns have drafted 7 players at either defensive line or linebacker under Andrew Berry. 7 guys. Now, some of them are late picks, to be fair. But those 7 guys, defensive linemen, I think 5 D linemen and 2 linebackers, I believe, have played between them 145 games. Those 7 guys. Do you know how many sacks those 7 guys have in 145 combined games?
4.
Well, it's it's bad, but not that bad. 9.5. 9.5, which, 4 obviously. 9.5. I mean, think about that. That means they're averaging about 1 sack every 14.5 games between those guys. That's basically one and a quarter sacks per season for those guys. I mean, that's awful. The leader amongst that group, the most sacks of any player they've drafted in the last 3 years, is Jacob Phillips, who has 3 sacks, but he's only played 20 games because he's hurt all the time. And then Jordan Elliott has 2.5 sacks in 47 games. Nobody else has more than 1.5.
It's so bad. Like, I sit there and watch Jordan Elliott, right?
Yeah.
And I watched him on the goal line just stand up and just patty cake with a guy.
Oh.
Just and then Alvin Kamara goes into the end zone and he turns around and nonchalantly looks at the ground. You know, these guys were these dudes are not just bad. They're bad like in the entire league. The Browns have like the bottom 4 or 5 defensive tackles in the entire league.
Let me back that up. Okay? There are 125 defensive tackles in the NFL that have played enough to qualify for PFF grades. 125. The Browns have 4 guys that have qualified. Remember, there's 125. So you want to have, ideally, at least 1 guy in the top 30, at least. And at least 2 guys in the top 60, at least. Really, you want 3 in the top 60, right. But you'd settle for 2 in the top 60. I didn't write down who is which. I know the last one. Their highest ranked defensive tackle. Remember, 30 is number 1 guy. Top 60 is a starter. Their top ranked defensive tackle, according to PFF, is 88th. That's their best guy. That's a bottom tier 3rd defensive tackle. Their other 3 guys out of 125 are 107, 120, and 124. That's Tommy Togiai, who's the second lowest graded defensive tackle in the entire league. So basically, they have number 4 defensive tackles.
You cannot win games. No. You can't win in the XFL doing that.
No.
And the fact that we got to get back to it. Andrew Berry was already here once. Andrew Berry was here once.
That's true.
And think about it like this. Andrew Berry went to Philadelphia when he was part of the 1-31 regime. Mm-hmm. He came back here. Is it a coincidence that the Philadelphia Eagles then put their holes? Philadelphia got picks on top of picks. They got Jalen Hurts. They continue to draft in the top 10. And we're over here, and this is what you've handed us. Matter of fact, the Philadelphia Eagles got Ndamukong Suh too. Let's see if Jason's back, ready, available. You
got Jason?
Yeah,
give it another shot here.
Yeah. Boom. There we go.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Getting a little better.
Give me a sentence. Give me a sentence.
Please, for the love of God, tell me you can get a dongle for this microphone.
No. You're in and out, Jason. I don't know what happened.
I don't know.
The man makes about $1 million a year.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's living the high life in a fancy home, and he can't get internet that works. Super chat, Donnie M with a big time super chat right there.
Big time.
Happy holidays, G and Bull. In regards to Newsome, you have to remember he is playing a totally new position which he never played. Next year is his prove-it year for sure in that position. Yeah. I do want to see another year. I'm not ready. I don't think anybody wants to give up on Newsome.
No.
But he's got to play much better.
And we trying to figure out, is it the scheme? Is it the coaching? What is it? Because when you have a bunch of guys that are regressing, and JOK, somebody said it, is JOK the next breed of a linebacker, or is he just a slow safety?
Yeah, I don't know.
Remember all that. Remember all those three safety looks that we thought we was gonna get. All that was the next wave.
Yeah.
No 3 safety looks. Rodney Harrison, I didn't play him much this year, and I really didn't understand. Really, Newsome, he was playing the slot, but I thought but you was an outside corner last year. I don't even know if they playing him in the position. It seems like he has the body type and skill set to play slot corner, but maybe he's not a slot corner. Maybe you're just trying to force it because you got Denzel Ward out there. I don't know. We just trying to get down to the nitty gritty on it.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, it's interesting. You bring up the fact that think about who has anybody. Is there a single defensive player you can name that, obviously Emerson's had a good year, but he was not here last year. Can we name a single Browns defensive player that was better, that was on the Browns in both 2021 and 2022, that was better in 22 than in 21? The only guy maybe is Taki, I guess, was better.
That is splitting hairs.
But that's really,
he's a special teams player.
Yeah, basically.
So
and he just played more. I don't know. But I don't know. Myles Garrett's good, great to very great every year. But anybody else, the defense, there was no improvement. Nobody got better at defensive tackle. Nobody got better at linebacker except for maybe Taki. Nobody was better this year in the secondary than they were last year. Nobody. So where is the improvement from the coaching staff?
And by the way, I could say the same thing offensively.
Well, Njoku got better.
And
DPJ
got. But if you look at it, you looking at Kareem Hunt. There's been a regression of Kareem Hunt.
Yeah,
we didn't even see. He's been a healthy scratch a lot of years. Dearness Johnson.
Yeah.
The offensive line, quite contrary to popular belief, the only guy that showed up that played better was Batonio, who's always stellar. Yeah. And you had Ethan Pochich.
Yeah, he did improve. I will say this. Both Ian Pochich and Jacoby Brissett, they were not on the Browns the year before, but they both had the best years of their careers.
Yes.
So at least on offense, I can point to some guys. Yes, there was some regression, no doubt, but at least on the offense, I can point to some guys. On defense, I can't really point to anybody.
Defense, I couldn't point. I
No,
couldn't
and even if we agree on Taki, that's he went from being like a 0 to a 2, or there was but so. Listen, we're all on the same page. Joe Woods has got to go. And by the way, Mike Prefer is terrible at his job too. We just talk more about Joe Woods because the defense is on the field a lot more than special teams is. But Mike Prefer stinks.
Oh,
he's been awful. I want him out. And if you're going to stick with Stefanski, we need a new coach. Like the Browns need an old school, like I'm all new school analytics and I'm all on board with that. Nobody knows, obviously I love that stuff. But I need an old school badass defensive coordinator.
Yep.
If Kevin Stefanski's personality is what it is, he's not going to change who he is. He's not going to become this crazy yeller, screamer, in-your-face guy. But this defense needs a kick-ass coach.
Yeah.
Big time.
It needs because I really and thank you Anise Barner for the $4.99 super. That's a nice name. I like that. It's a pretty name, Anise. We need somebody to shake some stuff up, or we need somebody to shake the room over there.
Yeah.
And talk to these dudes and put them in a perspective of you not safe right now.
Right.
I don't got no problem. Listen, if they be messing around with me, they don't like. Oh, we got a special guest. We got a special guest in the building.
Who we got?
Let me see.
I'm predicting Tyvis. Oh!
Hey!
I got a good prediction there.
Listen,
What's up, Tyvis?
What's going on with y'all, man? Hey, Merry Christmas, happy early.
Merry Christmas.
I hope y'all holidays was great. I see my boy.
Yeah, how was yours?
It was great, man. This is the thing. When we do restream shows, we got to let the guys of age sit this one out because we seem to get this thing down.
Am I a guy? But I'm a guy of age there, Tyvis, and here I am.
He got practice.
You do this a lot, though. So, you got
true.
your own podcast and stuff. So you know how to do these things.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here like Jason, chopped and screwed. Like this.
Chopped and screwed.
Oh, we got a super chat, guys, from Charles T. He says, guys, could it be COVID made us a team overrated these guys? It was no club, no kicking it, just football. And even then, it took defensive guys half a season to figure out what Tyvis says is the easiest scheme.
I'm telling you.
COVID,
go ahead, Tyvis.
COVID changed the game for anyway. Because when you was in COVID, all you had was football. Like you came home and you would study football. You watch football, like because you wanted to be great. There was no outside distractions. You talking about kids, well, not kids. You talking about men that's in the mid to early 20s. Like they want to go out and kick it. After the game,
Yeah.
These guys go out and kick it and stuff like that. So they got a social life. Obviously, with COVID, they didn't have those things and they didn't have that outside distraction. So that's what made the Browns look so good that season. What happened was basically Kevin Stefanski did a better job than most coaches handling the pandemic. And that's what's happened since then. Obviously, it's a couple of variables that's happened, obviously, last year with the Baker thing. This year, but forget all that. The thing I'm on here to tell y'all is this.
What's that?
My boy Reggie Ragland,
he had a good game.
6'2", 250, oversized linebacker, but a run stopper. Come on, man. We need to keep this guy on. He
did have, by the way, he had the highest PFF grade on the Browns this past week.
Listen, but we want to go.
He's your buddy?
We want to go undersized linebackers and not have defensive tackles. Like, this is a guy that should have been on this roster this whole season, and I've been screaming and hollering about it all year. It's amazing that a guy could come in and just have that impact on the game. Like, come on, man.
Tyvis, there's so many dudes that be on that's out there off the street that could make these rosters, but it's politics, bro. Guys get the dudes that they done drafted. You knew you drafted a dude that wasn't no good, and then you gonna keep him on the roster. All these dollars.
But at the same point, as an organization, like it's like the Zach Wilson thing with the Jets. Like, you putting this guy back out on the field, like, what about us, the other guy, the other 52 guys that's busting our butts? Like, what message that sends us? It's like just because you paid this guy, you're gonna continue to put him out there knowing that he's no good. Like, you jeopardizing, sabotaging us, and now that's pissing me off as a player. So it's okay to admit that you was wrong. Like, we missed. It happens every year. We missed on this draft pick, but don't jeopardize the season trying to be right on something.
Yeah, Zach Wilson's a disaster. Oh, he is a mess, that guy. He's just
mean,
tossing the ball up there. It's like watching him is like when I played as a kid. We'd go to the park and like we'd play tackle football in the park with no equipment. We'd beating the crap out of each other, and like nobody could really play quarterback. There's a bunch of like fat guys like me, and I'm just like we're just throwing the ball up and hoping somebody grabs it. That's like watching Zach Wilson out there.
Well, the reports is that they moving on from him. Which,
Yeah.
I've been talking to my guy Sherm. I said, "What you think they're gonna get for him?" Because obviously they're not just gonna let him go.
Yeah.
Sherm, like they'd be lucky to get a 5th round pick. I'm like, yeah.
He's by the way, you didn't play with Reggie Ragland. Is he a friend? Do you know him?
No, I don't know him.
Oh.
I think I went against him. I want to say he was on the Alabama.
He played for Alabama. Yeah.
Yeah, they came. He came out about the same time I came.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying you were friends with him. You knew him.
No.
But you just like his game.
Yeah.
I just, and you know, that's why I go with the thing with Joe Woods, man. I be going, and the reason I go with it is, look, sometimes when you look back in your career, and I keep forgetting that Stefanski is a young guy.
Yeah.
He's going to learn a lot of stuff in this stint here, and if he goes on to somewhere else, he'll go look back and they'll ask him, what was one of your things that really you learned from that you wouldn't do here in another job? And I think he's going to tell you, I should have pulled the trigger much quicker on a lot of different things. When I saw something going wrong, I should have stepped in and cut it off right then, rather than letting it go.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest issues with him, because that goes all the way back to last year. Like he should have stepped in when Baker said, listen, I'm going to play. And he knew that he couldn't make as a coach, as the head man, you got to step in and say, listen, you got to think about 52 other guys. Like, you're not about to sit here and I'm not about to let you keep jeopardizing us and handicapping us. Let me put somebody in, because you're making a decision for everybody. And right now, I just don't like, remember we've been talking about this all year. It's just like, this season, we've been depending on all of these guys. Like coming into this season, we was like, oh, we got this guy, that guy, that guy. And as the seasons went on, those guys weren't the guys that we thought they were. Like they weren't playing up to par.
Right.
No.
And as a coach, you got to step in sometimes and make a change, or you got to give some type of punishment, something like that. And then the fact that they keep being undisciplined in the penalties, you got to. To me, he's not aggressive for them. He don't lay the law down, and he's falling into the trap that I want to be their friends than be their coach, and it's a fine line.
I think that's interesting. And I was just saying right before you came on, I was saying to G that if, I know you've heard some good things about Joe Woods. I get it, but they got to make a change there. They're going to make a change.
Yeah, that's
right. That ship has sailed. So don't you feel like, as someone who played defense in the NFL, I feel like Kevin Stefanski's personality is what it is. He's not a hard ass like some of these other coaches. Yeah. I feel like they got to hire an old school DC who's like gets up in guys and kick, is an ass kicker. I mean, don't they need that type of guy?
You needed a guy like GW, Greg Williams, a guy who just old school, like
Mike Zimmer. You need that kind of guy.
Yeah. Zimmer's with Dion. Now,
yeah. But I'm saying that type of guy they need.
No, you definitely need it, especially on the defensive side of the ball. You always need a guy that's fiery and passionate, because that's what defense breeds off of. Like, if you got a guy that's setting the tone, like, it's a party. Like, obviously, it's all reactionary on defense. So if you got somebody with high energy, that energy is infectious. Everybody wants to be a part of that, and it always starts with the defensive coordinator. I mean, you think about a guy like Robert Saleh. That guy right there would tell you the craziest stories. He'd be jumping up and down on the sideline, pumped up, ready to go, crunk before games. And like, obviously, I don't know what Joe Woods do, because I can't watch him pregame and see what he does. But I could imagine that just by the way that our defense acts at times, I don't think that he's that fiery of a guy. He's more of a brains type of guy.
And Bull, I could argue this. I could argue if the old school, I know some old school dudes in the chat right now. You go back to the 80s, you go back to the 70s. The Browns ain't never been no, we trying to destroy you. We attacking. And when you listen, we trying to hurt you. Like, we've never had any type of defense like that with that mentality. But the Steelers in the 70s, they was putting people in hospitals. The Ravens in the 2000s, you know what they was doing.
That's right.
And we was coming out here playing two-hand touch.
But even now, guys, like the Ravens and Steelers defenses aren't what they were in the past. But and the Bengals too, all three of those defenses have some nastiness and have some nastiness coaches, right? Like, even the personalities of the Browns' best players on defense, like Myles Garrett, as great a player as he is, he's just not nasty. Like, he seems like too nice a guy. That's maybe silly, but he just comes off as such a nice guy. He's helping players up. He just kicks ass, and he's not like, I want spit coming out of his mouth. I want black paint on his face. Something. I want him to be like, I don't want blood coming out of his mouth. And Denzel seems like such a nice guy, and like we don't have those nasty guys. Not to be dirty, but just to be a badass on the field. They need a badass coach, and they need somebody. I think it's probably a linebacker or maybe a defensive tackle, but they need somebody to get mean, get nasty, and kick some ass.
If you're gonna play defensive tackle, you can only have that type of mindset.
But the Browns' these tackles suck.
Not last long in the defensive tackle.
Yeah. Brian Flores, Marjan says Brian Flores. What do we think about Brian Flores as the DC?
Is he with the Steelers right now?
Yep.
But he's not the DC, though.
He's a special assistant, I think.
So they could get him if they wanted him. I mean, I got no problem with Brian Flores as the DC.
Yeah, he's a great DC. Nobody has a problem with it. Can they get him? That's the question. Like I said, right now I can't really think of all of the DCs that's going to be available, but
yeah,
I don't think you can get a DC like that's a current DC. Like, it'll be somebody who's coaching linebackers or coaching D-line that's going to be that's getting a bump because nobody's making lateral moves. And if you come to the Browns at this present moment, it might be a little bit under a lateral move.
However, a good DC like Brian Flores might look at the talent the Browns have and say, you know what? That's a lot of talent that underperformed last year. I'm going to get the most out of these guys, and I'm going to get a head coaching job off it. I know, obviously, off the lawsuit aside, it helps the NFL if somebody hires Brian Flores eventually as a head coach. It helps their lawsuit, right?
They ain't even tripping on it.
Yeah.
I think they put him on.
Exactly. So
the entire regime has underperformed badly. It's almost unfixable in 1 year. I don't know if it's not fixable in 1 year.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
To be honest, Brian Flores coming to the Browns could be like the biggest advantage the Browns could get because he just spent the whole year with Pittsburgh.
That's a good point.
So, like, he would know them inside and out. So he would actually be a home run higher, technically.
I actually, that's a great point, Tyvis. I think the Browns would be that move is kind of growing for me. I kind of like that. He is a badass too. He's that type of coach. And he's a young guy, so he might. Well, in theory, he could be here, but who knows?
Hey, you show up on TV and pointing fingers at the owners, dog. You gotta be a badass. What you talking about?
That's true. Good point.
You might as well be Malcolm X. What do you mean? You still kicking? you still fighting around here? Bro? I said, hey, he a bad man.
Yeah.
Employed.
Yeah.
Charles D said, I thought Reggie Wagner was a D lineman when on TV. See, hey, go back and.
Yeah.
Go back and watch them. Go back and watch them old school middle linebackers, right?
The thing with Reggie would make it like so. We've been talking about how our defensive tackles is not that great. So the good thing about Reggie is even if they did reach him in the second, he got the strength and the power. He's big enough to get off the block. See, with the other linebackers, they small, so they're gonna either run under it. And if you run under the block, that's what they want you to do anyway, because it puts you behind the ball. Now you can't catch it. So that's what made him so special to me because he can use his hands.
Yeah, I mean, he's like 255. I mean, that's a big linebacker.
Going under blocks and see, there's DBs.
If you go under, you better make it. Oh,
you better make that play or it's 7. Like, people don't be knowing. Oh, look how he backdooring a run play is risky as hell.
It is.
Guys, let's talk about heading into this offseason. Obviously, the Browns have a lot of work to do, and we'll spend a lot of time on the offseason. But beyond the coaching staff, in terms of the players, you know what? Before we do that, Tyvis, I wanted your, because we haven't talked to you about the specific game. G and I have talked about the specific game, but did you have a problem with who do you blame? I guess for the loss the most. Was it the play calling? Was it the drops by the wide receiver? Like, what do you?
It's not that I had about 48 hours to
for 48, right?
Like you said.
Yeah.
It was some questionable play calling, but that's at this point, that's who Kevin is. He's a big risk taker. So we know that now. So the 3rd and 2 and the 4th and 2 where he decided to run the corner route. I was never a fan. When you're in windy conditions, the two things you do is you can run the ball and you can run inward breaking routes because the ball, obviously, it's a straight shot. If you throw in anything on the outside, the wind plays a part and it's going to sail. So when he ran the corner route, I was highly upset. So that play calling was very questionable. However, as bad, it's been the same story all year. How bad his play calling may have been during the course of this game. At the end of the game, Amari Cooper dropped a touchdown, DPJ dropped a touchdown, and Njoku dropped the ball that would have put him on the 3-yard line.
No, I think he scores a touchdown there, Tyvis, because he was right. Yeah,
I can't necessarily say it's all on Kevin Stefanski. He plays a part, but those players, like DPJ, that's 2 weeks in a row they didn't hit you off your pass for a touchdown. Like at some point, these players got to make plays, and they not doing it in the crunch time. So it's a mixture of both. I can't.
It's funny because you're bringing. I actually thought the Njoku one was the worst because there was nobody on him. Like at least DPJ he's got to keep his feet in the corner. That's not I thought Njoku played this last game like he was asleep. He had like 3 drops in the game. He didn't seem. I don't know what was going on with him, but that play at the end of the game, that's right in his hands, and there's nobody on him.
The Cooper one, he
slipped. I know, but he still got to catch it.
You got to catch that. You got to find a way. So like I say, the player, it's been the same story. The players that we depend on in the crunch has not shown up.
And that's true.
Of the season.
I think what we've learned here, guys, there's plenty of blame to go around. Owner, front office, head coach, assistant coaches, players.
General manager.
When the season goes sour, when you end up under 500, which is what the Browns are going to be this year, there's plenty of blame to go around, unfortunately.
And here's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Look, y'all may get this off. Y'all may get it off. I'm letting y'all know right now. They may bring back Stefanski. They may bring back Barry. But listen, I know y'all got y'all stories already written. Listen, all you dudes that had already had these pre-rented stories detailing why it ain't a coach's fault or why you can't blame the Browns. Listen, we're not trying to hear that. The street's been talking. We're not trying to hear that no more. Like
I'm telling you, listen, they gonna do him. They gonna do Kevin how they did, how Jim Harbaugh got done at the team. I think AVP gonna leave. I think Joe and I think the whole coordinator staff is gone. He gonna get a whole new thing in there. He gonna get the pick, have a selection of who he wants in there. And if the thing don't work, it's him. You got to go.
I got. Listen, and I told him. I said it was 6. People was writing back to me saying, "No, you got 4 games." I
said 6. I give him 6.
I give him 6. I thought I was knee jerk, the Duke of knee jerk. Why y'all mad at me for 6? He said, "No, 4. You got 4."
Good night. Well, you got to remember. Well, okay. Let me ask you this: This is if it's 4. If the players play in the preseason, 4. If they don't play and do what they do, 6.
Hey, they playing. Listen, I hope they should be playing.
But guys, playing. Here's the bottom line. Like Deshaun Watson hasn't been very good through 4 games. We know that. Obviously, weather played a big factor. The weather's been crazy the last 2 weeks. And this week in particular, like that's the type of weather that nobody's really going to play great in as a quarterback.
No.
It's so unique. But Watson has to for the first time in 3 years, he's going to have, we hope, a normal offseason, right? He's going to get his OTAs, his mini camp, a full preseason. There's going to be hopefully, again, no talk about further suspensions or anything. We all hope there's no further issues. He's got to come out next year and be the star that they expected to have. Now, we all underrated the rust. That's a factor. But the bottom line is, rust or whatever, he hasn't played that well. Next year, I think most of us, certainly the 3 of us, I assume, are expecting Deshaun Watson to be a top 10 quarterback. And if he doesn't play at that level, then the whole thing's in big trouble. You can say whatever you want about the coach, about the rest of the players. If Deshaun Watson doesn't play like the top 10 quarterback he was in Houston, I'm not even saying top 5. I think he has that ability and has been that guy at times. But just if he's not a top 10 quarterback, they're screwed.
I agree. But you know what? The good news is that, just like Donnie M's comment says, in 40-mile wins, when it counted, Watson put the ball on the money in winning time.
He did.
So when you pay a quarterback like that, you want him to win games, but at the worst, you want to at least have him be able to put you in position to win games. And through this rusty stage, he at least did that last week. He at least gave us the chance that we needed. and the guys didn't. For the first time, we can say it wasn't on the quarterback. Can we say that?
Yeah, but what I would say though, in the end, because a couple people said, "Well, Bull, he's played better. He's played better." Sure, but my expectations for Deshaun Watson may be unfair right now. Is that he's a superstar?
Yeah.
So if he doesn't play, if he plays good or he plays big at the end and that's it, I'm like, well, that in the long term, that's not good enough. I expect him to be a star.
Let me ask you, because I was thinking about this as I was watching Baker Mayfield last night. So,
you know,
we got to get to that too. Yeah,
go ahead, and bring that on up here.
So, because this is what do you consider like on a good game? What do you consider Deshaun Watson's stats to look like? Because I feel like under Kevin Stefanski and with Nick Chubb, like I don't think they're gonna be going 300 yards like that. Like I don't think they're gonna go 280, 300. Like I just don't. That's just is not.
Well,
the style.
it doesn't have to. I don't agree.
I don't like that.
I think they're going to throw the ball more next year because you have a star quarterback. You do that, but like Baker, all credit to him. As much as I can't stand him, he played great yesterday. He didn't like his statistics weren't. I mean, his completion percentage was fantastic, but he only threw for like 230 yards and 2 touchdowns because they didn't need him to.
So would you take that? Like if Deshaun Watson goes,
if Deshaun Watson played like Baker did yesterday, that type of game, that's a great game. However, that was a unique game. They had it was a blowout, right? Like, but yeah, I mean, I think you got to watch it. It's not just the statistics, right? We got to watch it and you say, wow, like, but yeah, I mean.
I don't know how people judging it. Like, are you thinking he gonna come out here and just throw for 300 yards?
Oh yeah,
yes.
No, but
Yep.
I don't feel like under this offense, the style of offense we run out, I don't feel
well,
like
then fire Stefanski's ass.
That's a problem. I've been trying to say that. That 245 playbook.
He got Nick Chubb in the back. Like you just
But Nick Chubb don't be going for 140. Nick Chubb ain't even really had a game like that where he exploded. When the last big time
we've been icing him out too.
That's a problem.
Have you noticed since D Watt's been under helm? I don't think he's got he got 100-yard rushing game, right?
And maybe one. See, there's
something got to give, dude.
You can't serve two masters right here, right?
Yeah.
And my problem is he could have
ran him straight, G.
Let me tell you this, guys. Last year, Joe Mixon, and he hasn't been as good in 2022, but last year, Joe Mixon 2021 was third in the NFL in rushing. Joe Burrow put up huge numbers last year. And Joe Mixon was still third in the league in rushing.
How many yards you have?
Hold on. He had 1,205 yards, just 54 less than Nick Chubb last year. Okay?
Is Zach Taylor a better play caller than Kevin Stefanski?
Yeah.
Well,
sure is.
But wait a second. I don't know that that's true, G. Zach Taylor's got Joe Burrow.
Yep.
And Zach Taylor's got absurd receivers. I don't care what anybody says. As great as Jamar Chase is, T. Higgins is a top 20 receiver at worst, maybe top 10. He's phenomenal.
Find me some people.
So, in fairness to Kevin Stefanski, he don't have the quarterback. Now he has the quarterback, or at least he should, but he hasn't, and he certainly hasn't had the receivers. As good as Amari Cooper is, I don't think he's even as good. Like, wouldn't you take T. Higgins over Amari Cooper at this point?
No.
Right?
No. I wouldn't take him.
You would not.
No, I'm not. No.
Would you, G?
No, I take Amari Cooper.
I would take T. Age is a factor, so whatever. But the point is that the Bengals were able to have an offense where Joe Burrow threw for a boatload of yards and Joe Mixon. When you're a big time offense, you should be. Hey, what's that?
How many Joe Burrow throw for?
Joe Burrow
was it 4,000 something?
Let me see. Let me see the passing yards. Joe Burrow threw for 46-11. He was fifth. He was sixth. So he was sixth in passing yards, and Mixon was third in rushing yards. If you have a big time offense, there's no reason your quarterback and your running back can't both have big seasons.
Kevin Stefanski.
They should open it up for each other.
Kevin Tyvis know this.
Yeah,
Tyvis know this. Kevin Stefanski has no capabilities of those numbers. Those numbers are nowhere near in his future or past.
Didn't Kirk Cousins put up those kind of numbers?
What is wrong with you, man?
Look,
So-
do you know
So Dalvin Cook and Kirk Cousins didn't eat in Minnesota?
bro? Look, Stephon Diggs was like, I gotta go.
after
Bye.
Kevin Stefanski left.
Yeah.
I got to go.
That was
Look,
after
bro,
Stefanski left.
we know. Listen, here's how I know he ain't capable of it. Right? See, it's all about the adjustments. When we should have been running Chubb through the ground, we was giving him light carries.
I agree with you.
When you should be airing it out with Deshaun Watson, you want to keep it medium sock game. Medium sock game get you medium results.
He ain't
These
ready
guys,
to air it out yet.
nah, and he don't even. And he don't got the concepts yet. See, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's a difference.
I can make excuses for Stefanski.
It's a difference between checking accounts and savings account and credit, right? See, it's a lot of dudes out there. There's a lot of dudes out there that just got the checking. You can't have no automatic drafts coming out the checking. And you ain't really got it like that yet. That coming out every single week. But some other people say, look, I got a savings. If I could quit my job today. I got a little nest egg, right? I ain't doing none of that. But then some people got the checking, the credit, and the savings. So now they like, I'll swipe this and pay it off before the credit card even see it. That's what the Cincinnati Bengals got. They can hit you with anything they want to, and you sitting over here talking about, we got one thing going at once. They ain't showing me they could get more than one thing going at once, bro.
But here's the thing. Before they had Joe Burrow, Bengals fans were looking to run Zach Taylor out of town.
Yes.
That's true.
They
now,
got lucky.
which I will, and again, if Kevin Stefanski can't make Deshaun Watson a 4,000-yard passer,
we're done.
then he has no business being a head coach.
We have no shot.
And Nick Chubb still got to rush for 1,200 yards.
Wait,
He
in
got
the same breath,
Yeah.
our receiver core is not like Cincinnati.
No,
like,
that's true.
You got a guy who you can just throw him a screen and he can take it for 60. So like that, come on now.
That's true.
Hey, that's why
Get one.
We got to go get another receiver. Brown's got to get another receiver.
That's Andrew Berry. Everybody, this is a potluck. You can't just bring the Swedish meatballs and forget the pepperoni rolls. Everybody got to bring something. This ain't you got to confuse. Y'all came to my house, not Jay's house. At Jay's house, the stuff was just there. You just showed up. No. There was a list of things to bring for G. Bush's apartment. Who has the drinks? Everybody got to work on something, Andrew Berry.
I'm gonna just say this, and I'm gonna leave it. I'm about sick of the fact that a Browns player goes to the Rams and looks good. Like Odell left, and we said it was. People said it was Odell.
Yeah.
He goes to the Rams. He balls touchdown every week.
Yeah.
They say Baker ain't that good. Baker goes, and out of what he's been there, 3-4 weeks. 2 of the 4 weeks he's done.
Now in fairness, I'll give you Odell, although
the Broncos, I'm not giving him because if it's against some stiffer competition and he does well, then it's obvious.
And by the way, guys, I went back and watched that first game Baker played. He really didn't play that well until the last couple minutes, I thought. And then he sucked last week and he played.
You talking about his first game with the Rams?
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
he did it.
In the last 5 minutes, he played great.
He was hitting his receivers all game, and to not have chemistry with them, that's impressive.
Well, then last week he sucked, and then this week he played great. I'm not taking anything away from him. He played great. I don't even care that it was against Denver, but it's not like the Browns never played. It's not like he never played well for the Browns. Unlike Odell, who really was underutilized consistently, Baker had a number of good. That was the thing that drove you nuts about Baker, is that he'd be really good for a few games and then he'd be freaking awful. Like the other good quarterbacks, when they have an off game, they're average. He's fantastic here and there, and then he's absolute trash the rest of the time. And we've seen that even in the 3 games with the Rams. Jason, do we finally have you?
Can you hear me?
We can.
Yes! Yes!
Look at that. Look at that. He's finally in.
He called IT. IT.
I got to tell you about my morning real quick,
Yeah.
just so you can understand what I've been through trying to get this to work. So I don't have my normal headphones that I use, which they didn't work in the past anyway, so I don't know why I was counting on those. So I tried the AirPods. Those didn't work. Best Buy is literally like 3/4 of a mile up the road. I got in the car. I'm sprinting to Best Buy to buy this converter to pull out this old microphone that I haven't used in 3 years that The Athletic gave me. Plug that in. It still wouldn't work.
Oh.
But apparently being on Chrome and not Safari, and then I messed some settings, and like we're good. Because everyone's like, your internet sucks. I'm like, no, we have the best internet you can have. It ain't the internet. We stream everything in this house. I don't have a cable bill. All we do is stream. We got kids streaming games in the basement. We're streaming TVs upstairs. The whole house is streaming. It ain't the internet. Oh my God.
Wait a second. If you're streaming everything, how do you watch the Guardians games?
Don't worry about it. I got my games.
All right, we need to have a talk off the air about that.
You don't want to cut you in on that deal.
Because now that Sunday ticket's off DirecTV, I'm getting rid of DirecTV. I need to watch the Guardians game.
Let me find out you got a Fire Stick.
We'll keep it on. We'll keep it on.
I got Fire Sticks all over the house, Chief. I got Fire Stick in every TV in this house.
Hey, when you go to the man's internet post COVID, that's a shot to his. That's like saying you ain't got car insurance. What? I have the fastest internet this side of the Mississippi.
All right. Hey, before we get back to sports here, guys, G and I talked earlier about our holidays. How about you guys? Tyvis, how was your Christmas? What'd you guys do? Anything exciting?
Well, I went back to my in-laws' place. It was good, man. You know, now that you got kids, you know, you finally get to see the excitement. Obviously, the one is 7 months, so you know
she don't know what's going on.
She just wants the paper after it's done. But right. my 2-year-old is getting the gist of it, and it was so exciting to see her open up stuff and be excited. So, you know, Christmas got a new meaning for me now. You know, I feel like usually it'd be what did I get? Now it's like I can't wait to see how they react to the stuff that I get them. So it was good.
Did you get frustrated that your 2-year-old was the highlight for the family and not you?
No, because I know where I fall on the totem pole. You know how after you got it's the kids, the dog, the wife, then me. So
you're last.
Yeah,
that's it. Jason, how about you? What'd you do? A good day?
Yeah, good day. We stayed at the house. I gotta tell you, my favorite gift that I got was the hand soap from Jay Crawford's house. I call it the Crawford cleanser. I call it the Crawford cleanser now.
Wow.
This bougie Noble Isle soap. It's on my hands right now. It smells so good. I seriously wanted to steal Jay's soap out of his house.
Oh,
there's
my
enough people
God.
here. He'll never know it was me. I'm stealing. It'll fit in my pocket. I'm stealing the soap. And I told my wife that in the car. She's like, "You've got problems, man, that you want to steal the man's soap." Like, oh, it smells so good. And I opened it up. And first, I opened this other gift, and she bought me like all these other soaps. And I'm thinking, well, that's nice, but that's not the Crawford cleanser. Like, where's the Crawford cleanser? And sure enough, like the next thing I open, it's Jay's soap. It's the Noble Isle soap. It smells. It is luscious.
That's beautiful.
It's funny when you get older what the things that excite you.
That's a good point, Tyvis. Jason, can you imagine a 15-year-old Jason Lloyd looking at you now that you got excited about soap?
I live a pitiful existence. I'm aware.
I almost went back to when I was 14 years old. I go to hey, smell my hands, Tyvis.
Smell my finger.
No,
all right, guys.
No.
Yeah. Hello. By the way, Tyvis, you and Jason have not had a chance to comment on this. G and I were talking about earlier. You know, obviously a lot of blame to go around. Coach, front office, GM, owner, players. But specifically, there was a report. Jonathan Jones of CBS had this report that Jimmy Haslam became enamored with the Tennessee offense. Their what's their type of offense again? Air raid. And now he wants the Browns to run an air raid. And I don't
Tennessee to college.
Tennessee to college, yes.
And not the Titans.
Titans don't throw the ball at all. But here's the thing. Like I was saying this to G before. Like only bad owners do you hear stories like this about, right? Like you're never going to hear Art Rooney Jr. get excited about whatever the hell college he went to, and I saw their offense. Let's run that, Mike Tomlin. Like that's such a bad owner thing. Now maybe it's not true, but Jason, you've talked about the owner so much. Like how pitiful is that?
Of course it's true. I don't doubt that for a second.
I don't either.
I told y'all it's sad.
With given his ties to Tennessee and how much he loves Tennessee, guys, I said this on the show before. I'm not going to name the owner, but I think you can figure out who it is. I had an NBA owner once go into great detail about the CYO coach or the AAU coach, not CYO, the AAU coach, and the way that they were running defenses in AAU and how much he loved it and how he wanted to try and bring some of that to his team. Like, this is what these guys do. This is what I've been trying to tell you. I'm not at all surprised by hearing something like that. Like, this is the point that I've been making all season long, and I couldn't get the words the way Jay said. I thought Jay was perfect. A good seed in bad soil. That's exactly how I view Kevin Stefanski. A good seed in bad soil.
Listen, y'all. If you paying somebody $230 million, you want to show off that toy, and the best way to show it off is just go out there and let them throw the ball. I mean, obviously, Hendon Hooker was special this year. What he was doing in Tennessee was unbelievable. I mean, the man threw a bunch of touchdowns with like minimal picks. So it made that he was the heart and soul of Tennessee. You want to do that with Deshaun Watson because he have pretty much similar skill sets. So you want to show that off, and you've seen the success that he had. Problem is, college, NFL, two totally different games. So you got Nick Chubb back there. So it's
called two deep safeties.
Mr. Well, not to mention, Tyvis, like when you're at Ohio State and you're playing 3/4 of your games against crappy teams.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And most of those guys are not going to be in the NFL. I mean, it's easier. It's easy for Johnny Manziel at Texas A&M to run around like a lunatic chucking up footballs because he's got talented wide receivers, and you're playing a bunch of schmoes who are not playing in the NFL the next year. So that, like
it's just the way to please that is Kevin Stefanski do what he do, and a couple of times a game you can throw out a nice little deep ball down the field. That's your air raid right there, because that's the best you're gonna get in NFL, unless you just specialist Patrick Mahomes and you see they figured that out. All you got to do is put two on the roof and let everybody play underneath.
The worst thing that could happen to the Browns, Kevin Stefanski and Deshaun Watson, it ain't nothing that they can do. Listen, if Baker keep playing well, that ain't gonna look good for you.
Who cares?
Oh my God! No, why does everyone want to point? And he played great yesterday. Like I had the game on in the background. He played great. He was great. But why does everyone ignore the games like the week before when he was absolute trash?
Yes.
And they only circle the good games and say, see, look, there it is.
He's had two good games all season. Two good games.
I said, wait a minute. I told you, I said he played well, but the problem is it was against the Broncos, who is a team that's plummeted right now.
Yeah.
They got some bad stuff going on over there. So
they're playing at the Chargers next week.
Hackett may be one and done. I don't know how you break it.
Oh, he's done, definitely. They're at the Chargers next week.
This is the problem right here. I just talked to Sherm about this. This is the problem. This is what Russell Wilson does. He makes you think, oh, it's got to be the OC. It's got to be the coaching. No,
Russ is done. Russ is done. He's cooked. He's
y'all got to just say it. It's Russell Wilson.
No, he sucks. But the coach, I think the coach sucks and he sucks, personally.
He was just with Aaron Rodgers, and they had one of the best offenses last year, didn't
It's Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, my God.
Come on.
Well, they not doing that great this year.
That's fair.
I'm telling you, look, somebody going to say, look, the Browns have played a bunch of terrible teams and ain't put 51 up.
That's true.
Hold on, wait. I gotta answer this.
Yes,
Super chat. Let me read this one. Donnie M says, Jason and Tyvis, happy holidays. Can I get your thoughts on running Chubb out of shotgun? That's been discussed a lot.
I don't like it because I don't think that's who he is. I mean, he's a guy that gets north and south. Obviously, not necessarily because he runs stretch plays too, but a guy like that that's physical like that, he thrives better when he's getting north and south. Out of the shotgun, I think it just depends on the blocking scheme. And right now, the offensive line was too banged up, and the lineup switched, and it was too inconsistent for me to really be the judge of that. It's been a lot of great running backs that's been successful running out of shotgun, but I am I formation type of guy when I want to run the ball. So that's my answer.
I agree with what you just said. Nick Chubb's going to be success. I don't care where you put him on the field. Just give him the ball, and he's going to have success. I don't care if it's shotgun, I formation, pistol, wildcat. It don't matter. Just put the ball in his hands. But I will say, I didn't notice this till this morning. Bull, we can finally put to rest the Browns win when Nick Chubb carries the ball 20 times. He got 20 carries, and they lost. So y'all just can shut up. Can we just
hold on.
Once and for all.
That absurd stat.
They lost. 24 carries and they lost.
How many have 24 carries?
26, I think. No?
I think he had 24.
24. I got the book up.
Hey, listen, that was a game. If you carried a 1, add a 3, that should have been a 60 carry game.
That's true. That is true.
I will ask you this.
He got 24 carries and they lost. I don't want to hear it.
It's unfortunate.
I do got to ask y'all.
We need a moment of silence for that.
For that stat.
Pour one out for my homies.
Yeah.
There we go. By the way, I do got to ask y'all. We haven't had y'all on since the Conklin move. What do you think about signing? Now listen.
Yeah, good call.
Now listen.
I was shocked too.
You cap guys. I want to hear from the cap guys.
Jason's a cap guy.
He's a cap guy.
I was stunned when I saw that. Guys, we were saying on the show, we thought he was done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was retired.
I thought this was his last year in the league. And for them to do this, I haven't, it's been the holidays. I haven't talked to anyone. I didn't even cover the game Saturday. I went and sat in the stands and gave my son frostbite.
Insane.
So
did he really get frostbite?
No.
Oh,
but
okay.
he toughed it out, man. He loved it. He stuck it out to the end. But the only are they moving on from Wills then after the season? Like I don't know. I don't know.
You would think
because Hudson's got to play. Hudson's got to play, and it sounds to me like they're picking Conklin over Jed, but that's no information. That's just me spitballing over the holidays, looking at this going, wow. Do they think Jack Conklin has more than Jed Wills? Because I think James Hudson has to be somewhere on this field next year.
I actually think that's the only way I would like the Conklin move because I don't like it. But if you're telling me they're doing it because they're going to spend the money there instead of Wills, I'm okay with it because as much as I don't like Conklin anymore, he's still better than Wills. What do you think, Tyvis?
I actually agree with that. Actually, I think that if not Hudson, then you got to find somebody. But I'm actually not mad about this. It took about what's the guy, the safety that Andrew Berry drafted. They released him earlier. What was his name?
Hold on.
What was his name? The safety. He was from Georgia. He was the first draft pick that Andrew Berry ever released. What is his name? Oh, Lil Easy. What is his name? I can't think of what his name is.
I'm trying to look up their draft picks now. My internet is
the safety from Georgia like 2 years ago. It's sad because I know the kids and I can't think of what his name is. But anyway, after that.
Oh, Richard LeCount.
That's him, Richard LeCount.
Yeah.
Once you get rid of your first draft pick and realize that you missed, that's always the hardest one. You make the mistake. Now everybody should be on the chopping block. If you ain't cutting it, it is what it is. When I was in Seattle, I watched them get rid of second and third round picks year 2. I was like, oh yeah, this is so. Yeah, that's what it's. If you ain't getting it done by year 2, like
that's it.
It's time to move on. You missed.
Will's gone, and obviously Schwartz. They got to get him the hell out of here. There's no reason to bring him back another year.
Wait a minute. We are undefeated when Schwartz carries the ball.
That's true. That's true.
You can't get rid of a guy like that.
That's a fair point.
Can't get rid of a weapon like that.
By the way, guys, how about this stat I gave to G earlier in the show? So we've talked about how the Browns have. It seems like they haven't addressed their front seven, although they've drafted 7. They've drafted 7 linebackers or defensive linemen in the 3 years under Andrew Berry. Those 7 guys they've played a total of 145 games between them and have a total of 9.5 sacks. Think about that. You've drafted 7 guys in the front 7, and they have a total of 9.5 sacks in 145 games.
And that's the problem right there. When we assess D linemen, outside of Alex Wright, because I like Alex Wright. I do too. I don't think he played that great this past game, but that I blame the weather and all of that stuff for that. But outside of him, I don't think they really hit on a lot of D-line draft picks. I think they missed on pretty much all of them.
Yes.
So whoever's the guy who's assessing them in college, he need to go ahead and let somebody else handle that because he clearly can't assess talent correctly.
I think Alex Wright is fine as their 3rd defensive tackle, but they don't have starters. Like their defensive tackles are all backups. Alex Wright maybe becomes a starter at some point. I think that they need 2 starters at defensive tackle and have Wright as their 3rd guy, and then you're in better shape. But they need a total overhaul there.
You back to 17, dog. You need 3 dudes to go with you. Back to 17. You need 3 dudes with Miles.
Well, I call me crazy now, and at least you call it. But I'm not all the way out on the Perion Winfrey thing. You know,
that's fair. That's fair. He's a rookie.
I was like, we got to get off of this guy. He's terrible. But as of lately, the kids have been playing better.
And he's a rookie.
All right, all right, I like that.
Yeah,
you're not crazy.
I was talking to a couple guys who felt like he's got to grow up. Obviously, he's got maturity issues, right? Like that's pretty evident just by the inactive status a couple of times and the punishments that he's had. Like he's got some growing up to do. But the guys in the locker room that I've talked to feel like he can play a little bit, but he's got to prove it. Like he's got a long way to go, and he's got to prove it. But I'm not ready. Like Tommy Togi, I'd shake his hand and send him on his
Phillips, Elliott, gone.
And that's a Buckeye.
Yeah. He can't play.
It's time to go.
He can't play.
So there's a couple guys they need to move on from. I do like Perion. I want to see more of him. He's got to grow up and mature a little bit.
Yeah, Elliott and Phillips got to be gone too. Those guys.
And they hit on the Isaiah Thomas and like what was he, a 7th-round pick? I think they hit on that one too. I like his game.
Rest of them, they can give them some Mr. Chicken Wing snacks and some lemon heads. Get them up out of here, bro. Parting shots, bro.
All right, guys. We've talked about. Yeah, let's talk some hoops. Basketball? Yeah. Jason, what do you make of the Cavs got boat raced by the Raptors? We know they've been great at home. The Raptors are 3-0 against the Cavs, right? Like the Bucks had smoked the Cavs twice on the road, but then the Cavs beat them at home. But with the Raptors, I think we all thought the same thing would happen because the Cavs have been unbeatable at home. They had been 16-2. And at the end, they made it a 9-10 point game, whatever it was. But they were down 20 at the end of 3 quarters.
Yeah.
The Raptors, who were under 500 and have been a terrible road team, I don't know if it's their length. They're very physical. They just pester the Cavs. Something to it. I mean, I don't want the Cavs playing the Raptors in the playoffs. Is that stupid or
none?
Who cares?
I want no parts of the Raptors.
Well, the thing that makes the Raptors dangerous in the playoffs is because they've got championship experience and pedigree. Yeah. And they still got guys there that know. And it goes back to what we talk about all the time on the show is teams who have been there and teams who know what April, May, and June are like and teams that don't. And the Cavs, frankly, don't. I look at the game the other night. I didn't see a ton of it, but it's a young team that got run off the floor. And that happens. Like you never like to see it, but it happens probably 6, 7, 8 times a year, especially when you can't sneak up on teams like the Cavs could last year. And the Cavs were that team that played hard every single night. And other teams don't play as hard as the Cavs do. And this year teams are ready for them and teams are prepared. They're coming off the big win against Milwaukee a couple nights before that. And they just got run off the floor. They got outplayed. They got their asses beat. And it's really, to me, it's not any more complicated than that. I don't think it would have mattered who the opponent was. That was just one of those nights where they just didn't have it. They didn't play with a lot of energy, and they got smoked. It's really that simple.
I mean, my question is the Cavs physical enough? Because when they play the Raptors, it just seems like they give Darius Garland that playoff treatment. Like, look, we're going to hamper you all the way down the court. We don't feel you're going to be physical enough. We're going to put hands on you. We're going to be physical the whole game. And when they put physicalness on him, he's not able to be free in the key and move, and he turns the ball over. I think Evan Mobley, when they play physical, he gets in foul trouble. And it seems that for a young player, he get in foul trouble, and then he's out of it. Usually people can kind of, if you're a veteran, get back out of it.
Yeah.
But he seems to go in the tank a little bit.
And Donovan Mitchell had his worst game as a Cav, probably. He was awful on Friday.
I'm gonna tell you who they remind me of. Who the Raptors remind. They remind me when the Guardians played. Was it Seattle in the regular season when the Guardians played Seattle and we couldn't beat them towards the end? That's how I feel about the Raptors. Where I just don't want to play them no more. I don't know if it's. I just think we just don't match up well. Like Pascal Siakam. He looked better than he like Giannis with a
He can play.
Man,
he can play.
I was sitting there like it's nothing. Like I don't know what to do. Like it's ridiculous. So if we got to play them in the playoffs, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I might be a little bit nervous.
Why is that team under 500, Jason? Because like Scotty Barnes is a really good player. I know Fred VanVleet is like not an efficient shooter, but he's a good player. Like they seem to have a pretty. I guess their bench is not great, but
Gary Trent Jr. good coming off the bench. He wet us up.
Their bench ain't great, but it's also the East. Like the East, the East is really, really good. And
Philly's on fire. The Nets are on fire. The Knicks are playing, and the Nets are coming to town.
I'm about to say we play them tonight.
They're playing tonight. What are we expecting the reaction to be to Kyrie in the arena tonight?
Boo.
A mix. I think it'll be a mix. I think there's people who rightfully look at the shot that he made to win the championship and will always appreciate him for that, which they should. But you can't ignore and dismiss all the other stuff too. Yeah. So I think it'll be a mix of booze and cheers.
Wasn't it here last year where he was like, y'all, I got y'all a ring and y'all still ungrateful?
Yeah, I thought he was here, right? Yeah, he was talking to somebody in the stands, right? Like,
yeah. So that's just who it is. That's just gonna be his response,
guys.
No matter what.
It depends on the day, what mood Kyrie's in. There were playoff series where he came in and wouldn't talk to any of his teammates at shoot around, and they just knew, like, well, he's just in a mood. Like,
I mean, we can't even put CTE on Kyrie. We can't even like.
He's so weird. This guy.
He's
a different cat. He's a different cat.
Are we done with the tributes though? We good. Like, we already got that.
Yeah,
out
it's
of the
enough
way.
already.
And plus,
do it tonight.
Please don't do it. Please don't do it.
I would be done with the video tributes, although I do believe he deserves to have his number in the rafters. And I know not everyone.
It's tricky though, because like the off the court stuff now, and
put it in the rafters. He means too much to the organization. He hit the shot. He was a really big piece in why LeBron came back. Like he was a weapon that LeBron wanted to play with.
I'm just disgusted with
Kyrie. I think LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin all deserve to have their numbers in the rafters.
Ain't Big Z in the rafters?
Big Z's in the rafters.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, listen. I hate to hold on. I hate to wipe down everybody's little. If y'all got any of the Mark Prices, I like that era. No disrespect to them, but you know when somebody say no disrespect,
they're not disrespect.
Kyrie better than anybody on the 80s.
I hear you, G, but the off the court stuff sours some people, myself included. I don't know. Obviously, teams don't care about that, so he probably, based on his court time, he deserves to be. He's an all-time Cav based on the court.
Now, here's the thing.
But he did. In addition to what he said recently, he also totally insulted Cleveland when he went out the door, saying it's not a good sports city and all that stuff.
Did you see he tweet yesterday about?
I did see that.
Landing back in Cleveland, Ohio.
That landed on a couple of my group texts, and we're like, wow. He ignored the city for he wouldn't even play here for like 3 years after he.
I know. He's such a weirdo.
Time heals all, right?
You're right.
Especially time heals all. Like we look at it, and sometimes you be like, I will never in my world talk to that dude again. And then you see, I got teammates, right, that I really didn't care for. And then 10 years later, you'd be like, well, if I had to deal with that guy at work I didn't like, and the secretary sucked, and then the guy at the cleaners was horrible, at least I have some shared memories with the guy. And you see him and be like, oh, man, remember? And you become best of friends over, like, nostalgia is a funny thing.
I mean, Kyrie is one of the guys that he even comes out. It's taking him a minute to mature more. I mean, he just came out last year and said, if I was back in Cleveland with LeBron, I should have stayed and all that. So it just takes him a while to realize it. But he is moving in the right direction now. With the whole stuff he did this year, it's set him back like 10 steps. But it's just going to take him a while to mature.
LeBron is even going to come back and say at one point in time, Jason, I believe that LeBron's going to say, you know what? I should have never signed that second deal with the Lakers. I should have just waited it out.
Sure, that's what he's going to say.
I think he's miserable. I saw him acting different, and I'll give you credit for this. You was the first person to say if he signed that deal in LA again the second time, he's done with the championships. He's done hunting. This dude was like, hey guys, hey family, I love you. Wish you could be there. Thanks to all the fans. And thanks for letting me play on Christmas Day. I said, oh, this dude is done. He chalk it up. He's not hunting for nothing.
And by the way,
he's just trying to get whatchamacallit record now.
Yeah, try to break Kareem's record. And big shocker, Anthony Davis is hurt again. Who would have seen that coming?
That's why he really done. He's like, man, I should have left when I had the chance.
They were starting to put the wheels back on a little bit, and that when they were here a few weeks ago, and AD was playing out of his mind. And I asked him exactly that. It's the question I wanted to ask him for 9 months. Are you still in championship mode? And he's like, yeah, I'm still in championship mode. And then AD goes down, but I tend to agree, G. I think that he's cashing checks right now and making movies and commercials and living the LA life.
He just want to play with his son, man.
He got Ruffles potato chips, and I start to think. You look at the level of commercials that he's on. He's cashing in on that goodwill. He got the AT&T commercial. He got the Ruffles potato chip joints, and I'm like, I could kind of see where before you wouldn't see him too many places. He had Blaze Pizza and some of the other behind the scene. Now he's doing legit commercials,
AT&T.
and I'm like, I can see,
he's running up the bankroll, and you know what? Hey, who are we to tell him he's got 4 titles, and he feels like he said multiple times
enough.
he felt like the Cleveland championship cemented him as the greatest of all time. There's a lot of people who would disagree with that, who would argue with that. In his mind, that's how he feels. I have nothing left to prove. I've done everything I want to do. He's the only superstar I can remember to take 3 teams to titles. He did it Cleveland, Miami, and LA. Like, name me another player in his category that can say that. I don't think it exists. So
Robert Horry.
You dirty. This dude, man. I will say this too. LeBron is the only person I can think of where his best attribute was passing, but he's the all-time leading scorer. That's crazy to me. Like, you can't think when he got that, and then he might end up top 5 in assists. And I don't know how you can then. I don't know how you can say. I mean, based on statistics, they might try to put him in as Chamberlain. He's the most dominant, but he's not the best. But I think he made that calculus. Like, if I get the one in Cleveland, I would take to 3 different teams, and I lead the league in all-time scoring. Yeah,
think about it. He did what he said he wanted to do. I think that's the Cleveland one, obviously the one that kept him up at night, because that's the one where he felt like he couldn't. I promised that I would bring a championship here, and he didn't do it. Now that he did it, he like, listen, I fulfilled my promises. I did everything I said I was going to do. Like, hey, what
guys? I can't believe you guys are giving LeBron a pass. Like,
why?
Because if I'm LeBron, I want to win a championship every year. He can make $1 zillion. If he were in Cleveland or somewhere else, he couldn't make the money. He's rich as hell. He can make it wherever he can make.
Look at his team right now, and you tell me, is he going to the championship?
No.
Here's the thing.
He should have gone somewhere else.
Of course he wants to win a championship every year. And if he leaves and goes somewhere else, what are they going to say? He can't win a title on his own. He's out there hunting rings. He's going and joining other teams, ready to win. All he's doing is chasing the ring.
Kevin Durant's at peace with it. What are you talking about?
But I mean, that's what they'd say, Bull. If he left and came back to Cleveland,
that's fair.
They'd be like,
that's true. You're right.
Look at that. He waited for a good team, and there he goes running off to a good team again. He can't win on it. He can't, no matter what he does, he's going to get criticized. He can't win.
But he helped put part of the reason the Lakers are in the conundrum they're in is because of him.
The Russell Westbrook trade was a disaster, and that's what he wanted to do. And that's what makes LeBron. I mean, I've said it all the time. I love the guy, but he's a psychopath. Like, he's going to say, do this, do this, do this, do this, and then you give it to him, and it blows up. He's like, why'd you do that? I can't believe you did that. Like, that's who he is. That's who he is. I'm just a player. You know that going in, but you also know he's going to make it worth it. Like, he runs up the tab and drives an organization crazy from November, December, January, February, March. He drives you nuts, and then he pays the check every year in April, May, and June. That's the way it is.
Not this year.
You got to get him there. Not this year.
It ain't going to happen this year.
You know how we pay checks? We get subscribers right now, guys. Right now, I think we almost at 19,000. We can hit that 19,000. Y'all playing around. It's the holiday season. Roll over, hit that like button. It's 8:04 right here. So theoretically, even if you don't even like my face and you don't like Bull's voice, you think Jason is okay and Tyvis has a nice beard, you know what you can do? You just hit the like button at 8:04. It don't cost you nothing. Just hit it so we can hit and by the way, we're almost 4.5 million views. 4.5 million views is crazy. $1.99 if you want to join us and get our emojis up here, do our thing. And then $4.99 if you want to watch our extra post-game shows, which gives you a boatload of extra content that you can watch, you can pull up and watch. And some of these content, I ain't gonna lie, in the beginning, we wasn't having topics like that. But now we got all kind of topics. Some of the topics I want to talk about during the show, they keep to afterwards. So that's all the good content. That's a super fact.
That's true right there.
Continue to hit that like button. Continue to support us wherever you are on your platforms. And by the way, y'all should be downloading our podcast too. I forgot we had a podcast.
We got one?
Yeah, we got a podcast.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Download that wherever you get your podcast. We got a lot of stuff I don't be knowing about. I'm like, when we get that.
By the way, are any of you guys going out for New Year's Eve? Anybody doing anything for New Year's Eve? Well, the Buckeyes are playing.
Buckeyes is on.
I'm about to say, we on, baby. We on. We're about to shock the world.
Are you going to watch it somewhere, Tyvis, or are you going to be home?
actually, it is my father-in-law's birthday. He is a New Year's Day, so they're having a party the night before. So I'll be at their house celebrating him.
So what time? Do you know what time he was born on New Year's Day?
I don't. I have to ask the lieutenant about
was
that.
He? Well, was he in military?
No. My wife.
No,
his
wife.
Because maybe he's one of like the first baby of the year. Jason, you going out for New Year's?
No, I'm sitting on my couch and watching. I'm too old for that, man. I used to get hyped for New Year's. Now, it's just another night.
I can't even make it to midnight half the time. Jay, what about you? You going?
I ain't doing that, bro. Like that. First of all, one of my buddies, he went to. You know how you got a buddy when he get out of school, he get a job quicker than you do. So he started going to these little joints everywhere. So he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to go to Times Square." He came back. He was like, "That's the most miserable existence I've ever had in my life."
Let me advise everybody. Let me advise everybody to Cleveland.
You got to wear diapers to go.
You got to be a total loser to go to Times Square on New Year. First of all, Times Square. I'm going to advise anybody that's never been to New York and wants to go. Don't go to Times Square, period. It's the worst thing about New York. It sucks. All the crappy food restaurants are there. There's no good food there. It's the worst traffic area in New York is all traffic, but that's the worst. Don't go to Times Square. And certainly the dumbest thing you could possibly do is go to Times Square on New Year's Eve. You have to be a complete idiot to do that. So there you go.
He said I was high. Off a bunch of stuff. Like I said, bro, you was trying to die. He was like, bro, you're disoriented. I was looking around, people was around. I didn't know. I started to freak out. I was like, he's like, you can't go to the bathroom nowhere. Like, no. and then he was like, there's so many people, you have no sense of direction. And it's like you don't know. And I said, why would you do that? Yeah, I'm not going nowhere. I don't even watch the Dick Clark Rockin' Eve thing. I don't know these new artists. I don't even
Isn't he dead, Dick Clark? He's dead, right?
They
still dragging up his dead body or something, doing like a Weekend at Bernie's thing with him?
Who is Dick Clark?
Tyvis, you're showing your age. Who's Dick Clark?
I've never heard of him.
Dick Clark was like a DJ and he was the showman
American
back in the day. Yeah,
American Bandstand.
And he used to host a famous New Year's Eve. And now they have all these cheeseball New Year's Eve shows that are all terrible.
Ryan's he's the old school. He's the old school version of Ryan Seacrest.
Basically, yes.
Okay, I got you. Okay, we here now.
He's Ryan Seacrest with talent. That's what he was. Why does Ryan Seacrest get every show?
Well, he has a production company.
The guy he's a nothing. What does he bring to the table? He's nothing.
Bull. When you get in the game, it's just like making All-State your junior year. You automatically make your senior year, even if you're good or not. You automatically in that joint. If you get in the industry and you've been there 12 years, you know how hard it is to get rid of somebody who's been in the industry 12 years? Somebody gonna like them.
Ryan Seacrest and Nick Cannon get every job. Those two guys.
Well, Nick Cannon got to. He got like 12 kids. He
has 12 kids.
You know, that's justifiable. That man is a hustler.
And Nick Cannon cut a couple of his checks off. I was like, dang, Nick, come on, bro. He was the precursor.
I'm about to say he did do. What did he do that was controversial? He got canceled on VH1, but they put it back.
They put it back on. He got friends in high places. But listen, guys. Listen, don't go down the rabbit hole. You know how I love documentaries. I don't mention none of them documentaries on your Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. If you got my my watch list history, you'd be like, gee, Bush, I didn't know. And you'll never know. Just keep that to yourself, dog. Americans got talent. But I'll tell you what, man. So you know, Cavs, they play tonight. Any suggestions? Any who we got tickets for tonight? Over unders.
Well,
we don't do good bad.
To me, it's a measuring stick game again. You know, obviously the Nets have been rolling ever since Kyrie's came back. They've been figuring things out. Obviously, you know, when you got Kyrie and Kevin Durant, if they high, it's gonna be a tough ask. But
wow, that's crazy. Oh, you done froze. Oh, Tyvis's daughters got on that brand new pad.
Oh boy,
he got him. You know,
I'm excited for this game tonight, guys. Are you?
I am. Yeah, I get to see where they at.
I'm going for pregame. I can't stay for the whole game, but I'm going for pregame tonight. It is a measuring stick game, but I also think we make too much of these games. early on. Like, I've said before on here, you use these games to build good habits, to understand what it's like to play in close games against good teams. But what happens tonight will have zero bearing on a playoff series in April. So it's just two completely different. It's a regular season and postseason are just completely different.
Yeah. All right, G, let's switch it up, man. I'm curious. Do you guys everybody always says Cleveland's a football town, which is basically true, but I think Cleveland is more of a Browns town than a football town because I feel like when the playoffs start, if the Browns aren't in it, people and maybe that's way in every city. I don't know. Do you think people are are fans locked into the playoffs or you disappear because you think the season's disappointing, so you're going away? As a Browns fan, if you guys didn't, if you didn't do this for a living, are you into the playoffs? Jason, are you? Or do you think the fans are or no?
We'll see what the people in chat. This is an interesting question for me. I think what happens is I go into kind of this this mode where the Browns were gone, right? So the Browns were gone from 95 to 99 or something, right? 94, 95, and 99. So 5 years. So basically my whole high school career when I was playing football, the Browns weren't here, which was this void of usually you watch your team on Sunday, you watch Saturday games. We played on Saturday, we watched games on Sunday. And it was a thing where I didn't have that. So there was this weird existence where obviously because I was in the prime and I was wanting to play college football and have aspirations to go on and do college football at a higher level, I was forced to watch football because I liked the game. But it wasn't I was in tune to it. I wasn't dug in. I wasn't dug in looking at the statistics I would know, but I wasn't dug into rankings and PFF grades for dudes, this dude over here, and I'm watching Monday Night Football. It was I would watching it and passing. And I think a lot of people in Cleveland, fantasy football has helped them out a lot to kind of love the game a little bit different. And gambling. Yeah. But other than that, no, I don't think Cleveland is a great football city. We only care about the Browns. We don't care about AFC North teams, I guess, but we don't watch the Steelers. We hate them. We hate the Ravens. The Bengals is a rival of ours too. We just don't like other teams. We can't. No, you're not gonna have a Super Bowl party, and I don't go to very many Super Bowl parties because that means the Browns aren't there. I don't throw those. I don't. Maybe y'all do, but I don't think people throw Super Bowl parties in Cleveland like that.
No. Jason, what about you?
Do. I didn't watch as much NFL those couple of years that the Browns were gone, but I'm still invested in the playoffs. I enjoy sitting on the couch watching AFC and NFC Championship weekend. I think we hosted one or two Super Bowl parties. I've attended a couple. I'm kind of past that. I'm just a crusty old man now. I'm past that as well. But
we got to have a show. We got to have a show Super Bowl party, right? We got to do that.
We can do that.
Yeah. That would work. That would work.
Well, when my prediction come true and it's the Bills versus the 49ers, I'm going to look like a prophet. That was my preseason for Super Bowl prediction.
Yeah. By the way, did you guys see that the Bengals-Patriots score, which was 22-18, is the first time that was ever a final score in an NFL game?
No.
Ever?
22-18. Never happened before.
That's
so bizarre.
That's a goofy number.
That's
a goofy score.
They definitely are.
Well, they missed the Bengals missed 2 extra points, and then the Patriots missed an extra point. It was really windy, but McPherson hasn't been as good this year. What's bizarre about him is he's perfect from 50 yards and beyond and has the third lowest field goal percentage under 50. It's just bizarre.
Well,
but anyway,
speaking of kickers, my boy Cade York, if he could kick in them windy conditions, he can kick in any condition. That was nice to see him go 100%.
He did do a good job, but he needs to be more consistent, obviously.
You see that super chat? I didn't see that.
Yeah.
You guys see that?
Off topic, the Broncos just fired Hackett.
Really?
I told you he was one and done.
Hold on. Yeah, it's true.
Even one and done.
What?
It's true.
Well, I guess when you out of it, you can go ahead and make them decisions.
When Baker put 51 on you, ain't no coming back from that. That's a death blow.
That's like when the Cavs fired Chris Grant after the Lakers beat him with 4 guys on the floor, and Chris came and stretched out across the bench, taking up 6 seats. And the next day they fired the GM.
It's like, you got to go. It's certain things you can't get back from Tyvis.
I'm hoping my boy Lovey make it, man. I don't know if he is. Houston like to do. They do a 1-year rental all the time.
Hey, hold on. Listen, let's be real with this. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Lovie Smith is the scapegoat for the Rooney Rule. If you want to, it's like the government is coming in. It's like the government is coming in and be like, you got to have a certain amount of minorities hired or for affirmative action, and they're gonna be like, or we're gonna fine you and not give you no government money. They said, all right, Lovie Smith is the first black person they call every time for every position besides coach too.
You know what? Go back. Now that this has come out about Hackett being fired, all Browns fans is going to say, Joe Woods better be next. That's all. I guarantee if I check Twitter, let's see Joe Woods. And I'm going to be like, that's
at
sad
this point,
that's where we at.
I hear you. I think we all, at this point, I don't know that it matters if you fire Joe Woods now or at the end of the season. I mean, the season's over, so I don't know why it matters. But he better be gone. If Joe Woods is not fired at the very latest by 2 days after the season, we're going to be a problem.
Well, you don't wish people get fired because what if he never gets another job? Like, did he mess up?
mean, he'll get another job. These guys always get another job.
It's not guaranteed.
Can I tell you? I got to call it like I see it. I feel,
Hey, he's gonna get another job.
Yeah.
You know why? He's a good.
I'm gonna tell you, he gonna go to San Fran because D'Amico Ryan.
Right, he'll go back there.
He gonna be a head coach.
Coaches everywhere. This is why I get mad. People say the coaches know more than you've ever. No, here's what the coaches know. Here, you run certain things. If you get fired, it don't matter what you did. It's all about were you a good soldier? Did you follow the chain of command? And if somebody orders the code red, you say they didn't order the code red. I was just here. The code red never happened. You'll get a job wherever you want to go. That's all you got to do.
You know what? I want to touch on.
You won't make it.
Go ahead, Jason.
Two things. One, go back to the Lovey thing. If you remember, the Texans hired him after they just got absolutely crushed for talking about hiring Josh McCown with no experience. They were getting destroyed. And they're like, wait, no, let's go get Lovey. Let's go get Lovey. Everybody loves Lovey. Let's go get Lovey. And I agree. I think Lovey's out. And I'll go so far as to say John Gannon, Cleveland native, defensive coordinator for the Eagles. I think it sounds like he may wind up as the head coach in Houston. And to follow up on what you said earlier, Tyvis, when I was scrambling around trying to get all this crap to work, I agree that I think there's going to be massive changes everywhere in Kevin's staff. And Drew Petzing, the quarterback's coach, will probably be Gannon's offensive coordinator in Houston next year. So I think AVP leaves on his own. I think he wants to go somewhere else and probably call plays. I think Petzing's gone. He's going with Gannon. I think Joe's gone, and probably there's going to be massive changes on the defensive side of the staff. To be determined on Prefer. I don't know about that.
He sucks.
I do think I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing.
DJ is saving his job.
Right?
By the way, I hope it doesn't happen selfishly, but I think Lou Anarumo's got a good chance of getting the job too. The Bengals DC.
Yeah, he could have a head job.
He is nice.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's talk about the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show Fantasy Football League.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Jason, the 4 seed, has knocked out the top seed, G. Bush.
You lost, G.
G, who was the dominant team all year.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Can I tell you something? I didn't even look at my lineup until Saturday night after all the games. It was the first time I ever checked my lineup. Didn't even look at it.
Oh, my God. G, you just had –
Jason, who did you replace Lamar with?
Nobody. I don't have one quarterback.
He got one quarterback.
No, he's got 2 quarterbacks. No,
he doesn't.
I don't know. I've had Isaiah McKenzie, right, from Buffalo. I've had him in my lineup for 6 weeks because I keep forgetting to take him out.
No, bro,
you're right. Jason's only got 1 quarterback. How did he win with 1 quarterback? Why wouldn't you pick up another quarterback?
You don't even
I didn't think about it.
It ain't because it ain't done. That's why.
I've been busy. You know what? Actually, I actually checked. yesterday. I wanted to pick up Baker just to troll you, Bull, since I play you in the championship.
Oh, whatchamacallit got him?
Yeah, Leroy's got him, I think.
Leroy got him.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody's already got him because I was like, I'm going to pick up Baker and I'm going to be Bull in the championship.
That would have been funny. So, yeah, Jason's into the finals. Now, I'm not locked into the championship yet. Earl is still mathematically alive tonight, but I think I got him.
How much you up by?
Hold on, let me just look at the map.
Because he got Austin Eckler. I know that for a fact.
He's got 3 guys though. Why can't let me see. Hold on. All right, I'm up by 84 points.
Ooh, who's the 3?
He's got 3 guys. He's got Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, and Keenan Allen. Now he could get a lot of points, but I doubt he gets 84. But you never know.
84 is high.
That's a lot.
Hang on, guys. We got to talk about this.
What's that?
Apparently, Myles Garrett was benched to start the game, so I don't know.
I kind of noticed that. Did you kind of notice that? Because I didn't notice him on the field.
Yeah, it's coming out. Kevin's talking right now, addressing the media, and he said Myles Garrett sat out the first series or the first drive because it was a team thing. My decision. He would not elaborate. So
I didn't even notice that. Did you guys notice that?
No, I was walking in the stadium, frankly, because I got stuck in traffic. It took me over an hour to get there. So we were late getting in, so I didn't even notice that he was not on the field.
Oh yeah, this is going. We got to figure this out.
Boy.
We got to get to this.
They're gonna blow this whole thing.
This is what you do not need the last 2 weeks. Because let me tell you something.
I can see him requesting a trade at the end of all season.
When you looking around at this thing and you got the Steelers already ahead of you. Don't let this. I already said the Washington Commanders game was the toughest game on the schedule. I had them losing that game.
Whoa, remember I said that we would lose to the Saints and you all wrote me off.
That's true. Good call by you.
The Saints.
Now you got the Commanders and you got the Steelers, and the Steelers is on the road again. You are in trouble. They about to blow this up. They about to blow this up. Jason, we need you on this immediately.
Have we heard anything, Jason, as to what happened?
No, I didn't. Like I said, it's holiday weekend. I haven't talked to anyone. I was at the game with my son, so I didn't even realize it.
And he put it on record. He said it was a team thing, and it was my decision.
My decision.
Well, at least he putting the foot down. Look, that's what we needed to see.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about holding guys accountable. I guess that's what they're doing.
It's about time.
I'll try and poke around on that and see if I can get more information, but I don't have anything right now.
That's not good. That's not good. And I wonder if Myles Garrett will address it. Like, obviously, Stefanski never throws the players under the bus. I wonder if Myles Garrett will say what he did or said or whatever. And,
Did we ever know what Perrion did when he got benched?
I heard a bunch of different rumors, but nothing substantiated, so I don't want to say. But there's been a lot of stuff swirling around about it, but nothing that was ever truly confirmed. So I don't really want to say.
This is like, this is the type of stuff, and I always say it. This is the type of stuff that it don't even beat a win-loss record after you start taking L's after a certain period of time.
No, that's true. You're right.
Because here's the thing. I've said it a long time. If you, as a defensive player, get to the point where you sitting here feeling like somebody wasting your time, and when people say, I don't see what good it's going to do for Joe Woods. Well, listen, if you keep carrying Joe Woods around and you got players on that staff that's looking at you and looking at him like, I don't care if y'all buddies or not. You trying to tell me that you want to save feelings? No, I ain't about that. And Myles Garrett always been vocal.
On the other hand, G, we've been asking for accountability.
Yes, we have.
And I guess we got some here. He didn't play in a series. I don't.
Did he pick the right person?
I wonder.
He should have picked a different sacrificial lamb, dog. I'd have made an example out of Delpit or something. Hey, Newsom, I can't believe you ain't got those spikes on.
Now, wait a minute. That's the big knock. Titus, you know that. That's a big knock on coaches. You hold your star players to one.
Yeah, you got to.
And everybody else to another. That's how you lose the
Listen,
locker room.
I never told you that. So when I was a rookie in Seattle, right? What happened? I was running with either the 3s or the 2s. It was OTA, so I just got there. So it's probably the 3. So the 2s was in. The backup safety went out there. He messed up, and K. Rich, who Chris Richard, I think he with the Saints now. He was the D coordinator. He said, get him out. Somebody else get in there. So I go run in there, right? Go run in. I mess it up. He snatched me out, so I feel upset. The ones go out there. Bobby Wagner went out there and messed up. And he snatched him out. So it shows that it didn't matter who you was. And he held everybody accountable. And I respected that as a young guy, as a rookie, because I'm like, man, he's just picking on the rookie. But when he did B Wags, I said, okay, it's justifiable. So it's the thing. So players will respect that for sure, that if you hold your top guys accountable.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm curious to see what has happened here that led to Myles Garrett getting called suspended, held out,
not suspended, benched for a series.
Right. Yeah. Everybody's saying sick of losing.
A couple of weeks. Yeah. Could be it's December in Berea.
Do the Browns? What do we think? What's our prediction, guys? How did the Browns do in their final two games? What do you think? I mean,
at this point, let's see what we got, man. Let's just see what we got. It doesn't matter. We want to see Deshaun go out there and look better. We probably want to see Jerome Ford in a little bit get out of there. I don't know.
Jason, let me ask you this: if the Browns completely crater, get blown out in these last two games, and finish 5-12, you think Stefanski gets fired? If that happens,
everything I've heard to this point is nothing is going to change. But I mean, you can never say never with this ownership group and with the way this team is run. If the wheels completely fall off the last couple, that's the reason I was encouraged after the Bengals game when they looked terrible and they lost any realistic hope of the playoffs. They came out the next week and played well and won. I thought, all right, well, he still has a locker room. Like, these guys are still fighting for Kevin. Right. But if this thing unravels in December and they lose the last two games, I don't think anything's going to happen to him, but you can't say that for sure. There's no way. It's impossible to say with as reactionary as this ownership group has been.
I'm waiting to see what Myles Garrett says about it. I don't think he will say anything publicly. But
Myles does like to talk.
He does.
He's growing into his voice.
And by the way, I said 6-12. They'd be 6-11 if they lost.
I mean, and just think about this, Tyvis. Myles Garrett might think of that he didn't gave them a solid. He said, I could have shut it down. I put the whole world. I could have shut it. He's saying,
although that injury was off the field.
It was off the field, and he felt like he owed it to his team to come out there and continue to play well. Yeah. Now he's saying, this is the hill you want to die on? I'm just saying. I don't know. I
would not be shocked if he requested trade in the offseason. I wouldn't be shocked.
Jesus, I told y'all. I keep saying.
If it pop up on my phone, Myles Garrett,
hey, bro,
trade,
listen.
I'll be like, I can see this.
And I'm pulling it, and I'm sorry. I love you, big fella. I'm pulling the Jason Lloyd comment on Kyrie. Nah, you good. We not trading you.
For sure. No, we're not trading you. Why would we do that?
No,
we're not trading you for Jason Pierre-Paul in the second round pick. I ain't doing that.
Yeah, no, I'm not trading. No, not at all.
Ooh, this is crazy.
All right, guys. Let's wrap things up. Anybody got a quick final thought for the day? Final take? Anybody?
Man, now I got to know what I'm talking about. Y'all catch me on the radio. You already know what it is. I'm about to go over there right now, 3:00. Your boy.
I just dropped my hot take. Myles Garrett.
You can guess your hot take of the show. We came on here to talk we were supposed to be in Christmas cheer, and then Jason Lloyd broke his story. Like, I put it on him.
I didn't break anything.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't break anything.
He had it in his phone.
No, I didn't break anything. I'm just sitting here talking to you guys.
Just saw the news.
Happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa. We didn't say that. Merry Christmas to everyone out there. Make sure you hit that like button. 804 people on a day off came in and touched us up. I appreciate that. And by the way, on our podcast, we had 200,000 downloads. What is that, last month? That's a lot, right? 200,000 unique downloads on your podcast. So who would have known? Who would have known?
Lawrence says, Jason, you're better than Skip Bayless. What do you feel about that?
That's not a very high bar. I hope so.
You're like, I actually right. I actually have some stuff, man. Man.
Drama tweets, if we lose, Stupid Ansky should be fired. He said Stupid Ansky. That's his name.
Man,
Why do people keep tweeting that the Ravens clinched? Do we not know that they clinched already? Did somebody say they didn't clinch?
I don't know.
Skip Mayfield. Yeah, the Ravens have clinched. All right, guys.
All right.
Good stuff. G, we'll be back in studio tomorrow. I think it's G, me, and Mike Polk.
Yeah.
And then Tyvis, you're on Wednesday and Thursday this week, right?
Yes, sir.
Jason, are you on again this week, or are you busy with something?
I'm
you're
on Thursday.
All right, guys. We'll see you later.
All right, y'all.
See you guys.